Welcome back, everyone. It's been a long time. So I want to give you an update on the 1200 Ute and where it's at. I believe I've now found an auto electrician who will take on the project. I've spoken to a few, but one of them keeps stringing me along saying yep, and then disappears when it's time to bring the car in. The other was keen, but the timing coincided with the original guy saying he can take it in that month. So essentially he fucked me doubly. I recently sold an A14 motor to a mechanic in Canberra who has hooked me up with an auto electrician who is retired, but will do the job. He's a TAFE teacher also, so it sounds like he knows what he's doing, or will know what he's doing. He definitely comes highly recommended. The mechanic in Canberra has then said he's happy to get the engine started, get the brakes bled and working, and everything else to run, such as coolant, trans fluid, and ensure the fuel pump and the fuel tank is working. That's of course after the electrician has worked his magic. If all this happens, we'll be able to come back to Sydney, put on the front panels, grille, bonnet, headlights, and take it for a tune, and then get engineering before we get it registered. I've wired up as much as I can right now, and I think essentially mainly the chassis wiring and linking the engine to the ignition and battery and alternator circuit needs to be done, or loom needs to be done. And I'd prefer a professional to get that done to make sure I'm not driving down the street and the car goes up in flames or something like that. So hence why I pulled the pin on me continuing to do that, because I also really sort of don't know how to do that part anyway. So my main concern now is ensuring the steering will work, but more importantly, be safe. As you know, I've got a rack and pinion steering setup from a N13 Pulsar, which is power steering. So I also then got myself a power steering pump from an Astra, an electric one. So that's all set up, hooked up, everything here. Last time I tried, I put the oil in and there was a lot of vibration and shaking. So that gave away two things. One, there's probably a lot of air in the system, which makes sense because there was nothing in it before, no oil. So I need to purge that and sort of bleed that out. Second thing is the nut down there, not the nut, I guess you'd call it a uni joint, came undone. So I put it all back together. I bought a new one, which you can see here, and the old one looked a bit worse for wear. I got a new one from Aussie Hot Rods and I've installed it. So you can see now that it works. When I turn the steering, it works. I haven't got it on the ground though, because I have done that and it works, but I just want to make sure that it can really bite it in. I don't want to be driving and then just totally lose my steering. It comes out. So especially if I've got fat tires on the front, grippy tires on the front. So what I need to do is take out the setup again, get this nice hard shaft taken to a place where I can then get two little rivets drilled into it. So then when I screw those two knuckles down, tighten them, put Loctite and everything else on it, it will hold it in place and it will bite down into those, and it should seat itself into those two holes. So that's what we're going to aim to do now. I'm going to take it all apart. What I liked about the old knuckle is that it has this indent that's perfectly fitted for the shaft. Problem was, this is a bit too chunky and it was hitting on something down there and I couldn't quite see what it was hitting on when I was turning, being there myself and not being able to fit a camera in there. This new one is not quite the same, but it will still hold it in place fairly well. So as long as we have those little dimples in place, align the screws, set screws into it, red Loctite, we should be good. In other news, I fit the 15x8s. They're on the rear, but they definitely don't fill up that guard. They're for the front, so I'll work on the front guards soon, just paint them up. I got that blue color, so if I can do that. And some wheels for the Gazelle, so looking forward to that. Probably next episode, we'll get into fitting them, tires, and maybe fixing up the bonnet. Out comes the steering shaft. And so I've marked up where we need to drill. Figured I may as well buy my own press drill, so that's what I got. one down, one to go. Okay, this is the second hole. I've struggled to line this up. I think it's because I didn't have the shaft resting on something. Now it is, so whenever I tighten these, it was moving it off just by a few mils, but it's enough to be way off when you're looking at something that accurate. So, see how we go. Well, fingers crossed. Looking deep enough. Let's hope. Alright, test fitting is going to be a bitch, I'm sure. And I think I need to drill 2 more on the other side anyway, the intermediate shaft. It's been so long since I've looked at this, but I now remember when I start taking it all apart. So this is the intermediated shaft, or intermediary shaft, I don't know what they call it, but essentially it's the shaft connector that connects from the actual column to the steering rack. Now, you want to have this partially as a safety measure because this will help if there's a frontal impact. You're just not getting the whole front of the car pushing essentially a straight steering column up into your chest and throat and face and whatever else. But not my concern, but what I notice here now is when I take them apart is that screw on the left goes all the way through the intermediate shaft, meaning a hole has been drilled in it. Similarly, you can't see it here, but on the right hand side, at the top of that fixture is another bolt exactly the same that goes all the way through. Having spoken to steering experts, you're not supposed to drill the hole in the column. Maybe the column was created with a hole in it initially. Sounds far-fetched, but I need to find out whether this will be suitable from my engineer. For now, I'll leave it because I can always, just to steer it around the workshop, get it to my auto electrician, all that kind of stuff, not a big problem. Even just testing the electric steering, it won't fail straight away, but if you keep steering and steering, you know, maybe up to 6 months or 6 years or 6 weeks even, maybe it will just start slopping out, falling apart, and maybe breaking off at some point. So I think I'm going to need to change that, but for the moment, I'll leave it as is. The other problem I've had is removing this bush, stock bush from Datsun. It's been difficult to remove. I've been sort of trying to damage it to get it out, but it hasn't happened. So yeah, it's been a fucking pain in the ass. All that mat, all that shit just has been crumbling out with the screwdriver. It's disgusting. Whew, it's finally out. Well, I don't think I want to focus, but I got my mate Dave from DJA Mechanical in Chroma to remove it. Hit it with the air saw, then realized it was threaded, but either way, it came off. So he's a really good mechanic too, especially if you want Datsun shit done. He knows them inside out, so give him a call. DJA Mechanical in Chroma. Alright, let's install this back into the car. Whew, well, I won't bother putting the light on, you won't see shit there anyway, but I can't believe it seems to have worked. So I put the steering wheel back in, I have put the steering column back in. I need to figure out some sort of bush, maybe like a suspension bush or something I can just put in there that will fit, just to hold it in place. I put the steering wheel on, but essentially I can't believe that when I slid that metal shaft down into the U-joint, it seemed like the holes that I drilled lined up, or the dimples that I drilled lined up, and the little set screws screwed right into it very nicely. They definitely went deeper than they normally do, or did before. So I think we have a winner. What I need to do now, put the steering wheel back on, make sure all the wiring works again, and let's get the power steering cranking, see if that is going to actually work. This is my workaround, potential workaround for the bush in the steering. Super Pro fucking some sort, I don't know what it's for, control, what is it? Lower control arm bushes. So I went to their website and I found something that would be suitable, that would fit. Looks bigger than I remember the Mad Dat one to look like, or the stock one, but the measurements match up. Mad Dat has not responded to 3 different customer requests I've sent them over the past week, and I've even made a purchase of them for something else and they haven't sent it, so I don't know what's going on there, but let's see if this fits. Slid right in. It's a pretty decent fit. That's not bad. Let's screw the steering wheel and see how we go. It's pretty snug. I haven't tightened it down much at all, it's just finger tight, but my only concern is maybe that rubber bit is a bit too thick. It's like 3 or 4 mil. So maybe if I can tighten it down, it will hold it in place a bit more. Otherwise I may look at trimming it down a little bit, or maybe off entirely, but it would hold the bush in place. Whereas the screw one, which also had a lip about that size anyway, would have held in place with the screws, the threaded part that was screwed down. Screwed it on so that bolt is firmly on. Obviously you can put Loctite or whatever else I need to on that. If I really need to, I don't think I will. Yeah, so still looks fine there. Turns nice. The best thing about it is no up and down play. Like, looks pretty firm, pretty solid. Yeah, nice. Can't complain. That's it. Another short little episode for you guys. I'll see you on the next one.